Tiger here. Welcome to Love in Waves. I'm super jazzed right now because I sat down again and said, what is it today I'm going to talk about? And it is actually to give some more context to this whole vibration thing I keep talking about, because the levels of consciousness and vibration and raising those right now in this ascension of frequencies timeline that we are in right now is so important. And I need to give a little more context as to why and why you see some of the craziness that's happening in the world right now. And I'm not saying anything specific. I'm just saying the craziness. And it's hopefully going to really inspire you to take a little bit more of a look at what's going on in your own personal life. Now, I just recorded this whole thing without sound, so and I had some really good points in there. I'm hoping that I can, let that all channel back out. But let's just start with this. This planet that we live on is part of a solar system that is part of a galaxy that goes around a central sun, the central sun. And it takes 26,000 years to go around the central sun. And during these different epochs, there's a closeness to that central sun and then a further distance. When it's closer, there's more light and actually, quite frankly, higher frequency on the planet. And when it's further away, it's much more dark, the dark ages, and lots of distortion and lots of disconnect that's going on. So what's happening right now as we have turned the corner and we are getting much closer to that central sun, and we have photonic light and more solar flares and all of this activity that is coming at us. Our magnetic field is weakening and we are getting blasted. The planet itself and we on it, everything on this planet is getting blasted with more and more higher frequency light. Now, this is proven in science, of course, with the Schumann resonance. It's showing that the frequency of the planet itself, Mother Gaia, is going up. And this is causing distortions to come out of the planet. And this looks like all kinds of crazy weather patterns and eruptions and all sorts of things there. And how does this affect us? Well, when light hits darkness, or when higher frequency hits lower frequency or lower density, it wants to blast it out. It's just what happens when light hits darkness. And that's what's happening in us. And you can see it on a collective level. People are going nuts, and we can feel it at home. We see it in our relationships. We see it in our nervous system and in our minds and how things are working or not working. We see it in our bodies, in the dis-ease in our bodies. It's everywhere. So how do we work with this? The whole idea, again, in raising your frequency and raising your level of consciousness, which is all the same thing. Okay, it's all the same thing. It's all that connectedness to source, which is light, which is love, which is consciousness, which is that life-giving force that we are made of. As we rise that up out of low density, despair, separation, shame, guilt, all of those feelings are emotions that indicate where you are in that. As you move up out of that separation consciousness further and further up into that non-judgment area that I talked about in the last episode, into acceptance and willingness, and up into love, we're actually rising our full-on frequency, our experience in life, and we're getting more and more connected to that source, which is the sun, which is this light, which is this consciousness. And that is a unity consciousness. We are moving from separation, hell, to unity, which is heaven. And this is what all the sages and gurus and religions are all talking about. And this is the time frame right now that they're talking about, where this planet is moving closer to that central sun, and we're getting blasted with all this light, and the darkness it's like the planet is shaking off her bugs, her fleas, right? And we got to do the same thing at an individual level. So when you see distortion, right? So distortion is anything that's not true. Anything that's coming, most things that are coming from survival and the ego and so on are really not in alignment with truth and love and that perfection that we're headed for. So those distortions actually turn thought inward back upon itself. And that's what creates in our energy field all the blockages that happen in our energy field that create triggered, your nervous system just kind of goes sideways, right? I mean, we get triggered by things that we weren't able to process, traumas we weren't able to process. They start out in the energy field and then they continue to move their way into the body and create matter. They create dis-ease and disharmony in the body, an incoherence in the body, which again is distortion, and our bodies are made to heal ourselves, right? And so we even talked a little bit about that self-healing in another episode. The idea, again, if we raise the frequency, it starts to push out the lower density things, which, yes, show up as symptoms. But rather than playing whack-a-mole and knocking down that symptom, right, we allow those, we can support the body to help move that stuff out in a more gentle way and light the body up. So again, detox and some good, dense nutrition, those, light phototherapy patches. There's so many things there. And then of course there's yoga and there's breath work and there's shadow work and all these other things that move all of this stuff out in a healthy, natural way, so that we slowly rise up this scale and we're able to take in more light, because that light is coming in and it's not stopping. It's going to continue. So when we don't do this, again, I was just talking about playing whack-a-mole with dis-ease, just treating symptoms and, keep it down, keep it down, keep it down, instead of working with the body to help itself come into an alignment, getting the environment of the body in such a way that it can move these things out as gracefully as possible. But then also the symptoms in our lives, right? Not being happy, being prideful, being like angry all the time, like all kinds of different things that can show up in our relationships, in the work we do, in just anxiety and depression and all of this stuff that we also need to work with, right? We need to move that out as well. And so again, removing these emotions, how to do that. This is the breath work and the yoga and the inner child work and sit with your shit stuff, right? Like we have to move that stuff out and then change the mindset into acceptance now. I talked about judgment in the last episode. We got to move into acceptance. What is happening right now? Okay, that's what's happening right now. Can I accept what is in this moment? Can I accept what happened just this moment and not react? Can I allow that feeling to just be and move itself out so that I can, approach it differently next time? All of these little steps that we take each day make a huge difference in our capacity to take in more and more of this light, to take in more and more of this energy and frequency and ride it with it. Because if we don't, and we keep pushing it all down whenever we feel triggered or something, or we blame somebody else or project our crap on somebody else, we're pushing down all the symptoms, but the body needs to feel it out. It needs to release this stuff, because that light's going to keep blasting at it, and you're either going to go totally sideways, like you can see happening in the world, right? Collectively, individually, people are going sideways, or you can work with that energy and actually have a different experience. And jump timelines, as they say, live in a different level of consciousness, which literally changes the dimension you're in. Yes, you're still in the world, but you feel a different experience of the world because it is different for you. It's just incredible. So I wanted to give a little bit more context of what's going on here and why I keep talking about raising your vibe. I will not stop. This is the journey that we're on right now. And it is half science, half spirit. It's what all the gurus were teaching. Like, this is the time. This is the time. And they overlay. They're all the same. The quantum physics, the nonlinear. We're moving from separation consciousness to unity consciousness. This is the time, and we chose to be here right now. So let's go on this ride together. All right, now hop on over to Sweet Spot Power. This is what I do. I hit it up from the body to the mind, to the mindsets, to actually removing some of these energies, completely realigning the body. There's so many things that you can do on your own as well. It's just time to hack at it, like really hack at it. There's no time to sit and talk about it. It's time to get into action. So check it out. If you like this content, if you're into it, please like this page or like this and subscribe and get notified and leave me a comment. Let me know what else you'd like me to talk about, because I will go deeper into all these different little areas, but I thought that context today was really what needed to be done. So thanks again for listening, and I will see you next time on Love and Waves.